I'm Nikki Thériault here at Gallery 78, and I wanted to welcome you to our new exhibit, which features new oil and pastel pieces of Joseph Plaskett, the great Canadian artist. After we take a little tour of the paintings, we're going to go take a little chat with Inge Pataki, founder of Gallery 78. And here we are now with Inge Pataki. So, how is it that you got to know an artist that was from BC and he lives in Europe now? So how did you come about meeting him?
The first time I met him was at an exhibition. It was a traveling exhibition shown at the Beaverbrook Art Gallery in 1972. That was shortly after we had arrived in Fredericton. And this exhibition was organized by the Art Gallery of the University of British Columbia and was toured by the National Gallery. Joe was at that exhibition opening, and that was my first introduction to him, and I was totally overwhelmed by the exhibition and by his wonderful personality. And then in 1976 we opened our gallery, and shortly after that, maybe a year or two, he visited Fredericton again, and we were introduced through Molly and Bruno, who were very close friends of Joe's. So that's the connection. Molly is from the East Coast, from the West Coast, of course, and they had been friends all their lives, and so we met. And we had started the gallery. That's why I mentioned that. And then Joe actually asked whether I would be interested to show some of his pastels he did of Fredericton. He came to visit quite often, and I remember he had exhibitions at the art center at the university because of Bruno being the director there. And the first show was pastels of Fredericton, which was a wonderful exhibition. Yes, and then it followed 2-3 years afterward. We had our first exhibitions of his oil paintings, which were tablescapes, they were called. Tablescapes. And sometimes he used the format of diptychs, sometimes triptychs or single canvases as well. And it was a beautiful exhibition. Subject matter, table settings after a lunch in Paris, after a dinner, which he had so many friends, and he was visited by so many, and he often left the table settings of a finished lunch for 2 days or so in order to finish the painting. So that was and then and we became very good friends. He is such an incredibly wonderful, interesting man. I would say you could call him nowadays the oldest still painting artist in Canada. He will be 94 this summer. Yes, and his work still sings. He said at his 90th birthday exhibition, which we had here 4 years ago, that his painting still, him painting still excites him. You know, he has painted for over 70 years, and there is always something new. He's just an amazing, deep source of wonderful things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. And thank you for watching.
On top of being a brilliant painter, he is a very, very good writer.
Oh,
he has
really?
written books. His autobiography was published about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And a small publication was done shortly after, which is called The Book of Joe, where Eleanor Wachtel from CBC interviews Joe Plaskett, and then the rest of the book consists of small essays that friends of his, many friends of his, had sent in, and these stories are published in that small book. It's a wonderful read.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we have had the chance to see him also not only here in Fredericton but in Europe as well on our travels. So we stayed a few times at his place in Paris, and once I remember, I think it was '86, where I picked up some work for a group exhibition here at Gallery 78, and I went with a friend of mine to Paris, just the two of us, and he was so sweet. He took us out into one of his neighborhood bistros, and we had lunch together. Joe is known also for his paintings of people. He has so many friends and so many admirers, and so a very major part of his work is his painting of people, apart from official commissions that he did for people in the government, etc.
Yeah. And I understand that he was also a great piano player?
Yes, he was a musician. He doesn't play anymore, but I remember the story in Paris. He lived in one of the oldest houses of Paris, you know, in the oldest part of Paris, called the Marin, and his piano room was on the 3rd floor. The house was so narrow. It started on the 1st floor, and every floor had one room, and it went up in a spiral staircase, so everybody always wondered how did his grand piano get into his house. And the story was that it was a crane through the French windows on the 3rd floor room. That's the way the piano was. And he had house concerts there with friends, musician friends in Paris. So his place in Paris was quite a place was quite a well-known place, you know, the people that met there and the people that you could meet there if you by chance were there in Paris was amazing.
I understand you won't be at the opening this time, Inge.
No, this time, although still, I think last year or 2 years ago, when he had shows on the West Coast, he came, but this year he is a little too frail, and traveling is becoming more and more difficult. He will be 94 this summer.
Well, we will miss him, and we'll cheers him. We'll give him a nice ring of
we certainly will.
at the opening.
He's a wonderful man.
Thank you for watching.